We are now talking to NBA.com and NBA TV commentator and analyst, Beau Estes. What's going on, Beau?
Nothing. I actually was enjoying listening to you guys talking to Eric. Reminded me of a Pau Gasol story from Memphis back in the day, where Pau first comes to America and he's playing pickup with some guys, tries to set a screen, and they're like, "What in the hell are you doing? You don't set screens on three down here, man." And I was like, that is the difference between European basketball, particularly then, and American basketball. It's changed a little bit here. It's a little bit better now, but it was a bit of a culture shock for Pau back in the day.
It's so interesting when we get Eric on the show, and we talk to a lot of play-by-play guys, but Eric really just brings out his personality. He's very funny. We're very funny, and he loves a lot of these analysts. Well, who do we have on Chicago's play-by-play guy?
Oh, Chuck Swirsky a while ago.
Chuck came on our show like 2 years ago, and I like to ask crazy questions. So I asked him a question. I said, Chuck, I asked like 5 silly questions. So I asked him pretty much, I said, Chuck, if you went out in public in a woman's dress and makeup and high heels, where would you go? And he looked at me 3 or 4 times and gave me a look like he was going to cut my head off. And he says, "Well, boys, it's very nice coming on your show." And we never reached out to him again because I thought he was going to
stormed out.
He stormed out. I thought he was going to kill me. And, he just looked at me like I was crazy. But, when we talk to a lot of these analysts and these different athletes, we've had a lot of Pro Bowl, Hall of Famers come on a show. I tell my producer, Speedy, to tell them before they come on a show, let them know that we're not like every other interview. We're pretty straightforward. We're cool. We're collective. But we'll cut out of the box and we'll do stupid things. And we just want people to understand that when you come on a radio show, you don't want to be the same boring radio show that asks the same boring questions. You just want to be different,
I'm surprised that somebody would hang up on that. It seems like you could have some fun with that answer, honestly.
Yeah, well, he wanted to kill me. I think he wanted to chop my head off and cook it or something. Thank God he's not from Wisconsin, because then I would probably ask him if he knew Jeffrey Dahmer or something. Anyways, we are talking to NBA.com and NBA TV commentator and analyst, Beau Estes. So, Beau, what were your thoughts to the Golden State Warriors winning a championship, and really throughout that series, the crazy things that were happening? I mean, some of the things that Klay Thompson was doing, Draymond Green saying, after they won the championship that he believes they're going to win the next 3 out of 4 championships, which I think he's out of his mind. But, Draymond's a little out there anyways. But what were your thoughts to the Golden State Warriors pulling out another championship?
The NBA playoffs are a tournament we hold from April to June, and it's usually health at the right time to win the championship. To me, I honestly believe if the Milwaukee Bucks were healthy and Chris Middleton was there, that was the team to beat. And I don't put an asterisk by any darn championship out there, but I am aware of context. The idea that this team is going to win 3 in a row is nuts to me. I think Giannis is the favorite every year with how dominant this guy is, and particularly how he's displayed that he can raise his level in the playoffs. And I thought he was the best player in the playoffs this year. Steph Curry was incredible. Let's be honest. Steph Curry's amazing, but Giannis does it on both ends of the court. Golden State was a great story. It was a great redemption story. I was calling it the last dance for them. Wiggins was their second best player in the playoffs. He's really good now, but I don't know that wins another NBA championship.
So you mentioned it being the last dance. I want to mention the identity of it, because actually Eric had some good points about point guards kind of being not the same anymore. There's not a lot of good ones, and bigger players, wing players, are taking over the league. Do you think that style of Golden State, the way they built the team, is not going to be the same with a lot of these big wing players now, like Giannis and like Luka Doncic coming in the league?
Well, I think what it is it's going to be Golden State, but bigger. Like you mentioned, it's going to be guys that can shoot, guys that can defend multiple positions on the perimeter, not 6'3" and 6'4" and 6'5". They're going to be 6'8", 6'9", and 6'10". Look, I just left Vegas Summer League tonight and watched the first half with Jabari Smith and Paolo Banchero going head-to-head. And the great thing was they were matched up against one another, but they have all the skills. I saw Jabari Smith grab a rebound, dribble all the way down the court, gets a pull-up jumper, got fouled on the jumper. Paolo Banchero do the same thing. So it's just Golden State plus size now. Everybody's doing what they did, but they're going bigger. And, that's one of the great things about Summer League, Paolo going against the bar. Last year, Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham going head-to-head. And Jalen Green wanted that matchup. Ticked that he didn't go number 1. That's a lot of fun out here at Summer League.
As everybody knows, we are talking to NBA.com and NBA TV commentator, analyst Beau Estes. So why don't we get into this KD situation? It seems like it's the talk of the NBA right now. And Kevin Durant, we all know that he's not a big fan of Sean Marks. And ever since Kyrie Irving wanted that supermax contract worth about $240, which would have made him the highest paid NBA player in NBA history, with all the money that we've seen be delivered and handed out this offseason, the Nets decided to not do that. And then they said, go out and find your own trade. And he opts into the $36.5 million. And then all of a sudden, a week later, KD goes to Sean Marks in upper management saying that he wants out. Trade me, or I'm not playing, or whatever the heck he said. So what are your thoughts right now? And I mean, there are teams, Miami, he says he want to go to Miami, Phoenix, and now Golden State's another team that's been brought up in the conversation. Where is KD going? Is he going anywhere? Or is the Nets going to figure out something how they can keep Kyrie and KD there for at least one more year?
What's wild to me, KD says he wants to go to Miami, but he wants them to still have Jimmy Butler and to still have Kyle Lowry and to still have Bam Adebayo. Well, they got to trade something. You know, you say you want to go to Phoenix, but you want Devin Booker still there and you want Chris Paul still there or whatever. They're going to have to give up something to get you. So he's going to have to be understanding of realities here. Toronto could put together the best trade package for him that would return something to Brooklyn to give them an immediate future and a better long-term future. I would let this play out a little bit. Maybe KD cools down, and maybe they can start a season with Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and get on a roll, and these guys enjoy that experience, and it becomes okay. Ben Simmons sat all season long with the Philadelphia 76ers till a late season trade. Looked like he may come back and play with the Brooklyn Nets. Didn't do that. So I just don't know. When you are early in a contract asking or demanding a trade and you've just signed this big contract, it presents a problem for owners in the league. And I'm telling you, the next collective bargaining agreement is going to be tough for the players. I believe the owners are coming for blood. I really do.
So, as a result, what do you think is the Nets' best case scenario to make this kind of thing work? Either to rebuild and try to reaccumulate these draft picks because they have nothing except for pick swaps for the next decade. Yep. And also with Kyrie listing the Lakers as his primary team, but listing all those teams, what do you think is the best case for both scenarios to work for the Nets, either to keep them or rebuild?
I think the best case is if you start a season with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Ben Simmons on the floor, that's your best case. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get much better than that because they're close to an NBA favorite with that. Look, for the longest time this year, Vegas had Brooklyn as the number one team in the NBA, the favorite to win the championship because of Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving at the time. And it just didn't work out. It really just didn't work out. And a lot of that, I talked to somebody in the Brooklyn organization yesterday or the day before, and a lot of that's just injuries and bad timing, but it's not going to be remembered that way, right? We can talk about the fact that James Harden and Kyrie weren't there in that series at the same time much against Milwaukee last year. But people are just going to remember that they lost. And this year, James Harden got sick of dealing with Kyrie Irving. He gets out and goes to Philadelphia, and now you're stuck with Ben Simmons, who was not happy in Philadelphia. But I really, if I'm the Nets, there's two things here. One, do they bring so much negative energy? But the other side of that is, man, I would really love to roll the ball out and see if you can win a championship and see if you can get off to a 14-2 start. Everybody's feeling good and everybody's happy, and those demands go away. That to me, that is their best case scenario. You don't get equal value when you trade Kevin Durant away. You just don't. Kyrie Irving, not as good as Kevin Durant, but he's really good too when he's on the court and when he's focused in. So to me, the best case scenario is to keep those guys, honestly.
LeBron James comes out the other day and says that, he tells the Lakers, because he is the GM, as everybody knows, and he tells the Lakers, listen, trade how many first round picks you can get for Kyrie Irving. I don't care if you give 5, 6, get Kyrie Irving here. If somehow Kyrie Irving gets traded to the Lakers, and he's already come out and said that he only wants to play for the Lakers, which means that if he gets traded anywhere else, he's not going to want to be there. He's going to cause trouble. Kyrie Irving doesn't shut the hell up. The guy thinks the earth's flat. He thinks the moon doesn't exist. Whatever he thinks. I mean, the guy geographically is an idiot, but nevertheless, he's a fantastic talent. What are your thoughts of LeBron coming out and saying, listen, and he also told the Lakers, if you don't make the moves and you don't make the moves that I want, I'm not going to sign the extension going into the season. What are your thoughts to this whole Lakers, LeBron, Kyrie Irving situation?
Well, I remember back years ago when LeBron in his second stint with Cleveland was signing plus 1 year contracts. And the idea was that he could hold management's fingers to the fire, make them do whatever he wanted. That was LeBron in his prime. I don't know LeBron is quite in his prime like he was then and quite has as much pull. He's got a ton of pull. Look, he averaged 30 points a game last year. Incredible player. How many more championships does this guy have in him? One, maybe. Two, maybe. I don't know that LeBron at his best is as good as Giannis at his best now. So I think he does have a lot of power there. I think he has a lot of sway, but I think that is waning as each year passes. If you pair LeBron, Kyrie, and Anthony Davis, and if they are healthy and if they are engaged, you have a shot. You really do. But I don't know that they can get to that. I don't know that Brooklyn wants anything that the Lakers really have. There's differing views on that. Some people say that there's progress on that trade. Some people say that there's not. I don't know what the Lakers have that Brooklyn would ever want. You've got to have something that Brooklyn would want. Otherwise, give him to somebody else. Because I just feel like Brooklyn does not have to fold up and go home and take whatever abuse they have to take. They got some power here, so they should use it.
So I was talking about it with the notion of the point guards, the backcourts, but how about the concept of the big threes? You mentioned that this collective bargaining agreement coming up is going to be tough on the players. Do you see the notion of like trying to make those big threes like LeBron has done, like the Warriors did with their super team, kind of fading away and now building more like Milwaukee, like you were saying, and teams like that?
Well, so I'm trying to think of the last real big three that won a championship. 2020, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Is there a third there? 2021 is Giannis and Chris Middleton. This year it's Steph, Andrew Wiggins, and I don't know that that's a big three. Yeah. So not in the sense that we think of a big three. Let's put it that way. So I don't know that big three is the way to go anymore. You're lucky we get a Giannis, right? Like when you get a guy who really is committed to your organization. I don't know how much you guys know about the history of this guy, but the Milwaukee Bucks organization moved heaven and earth to get his family over from Greece to America for him. I mean, they were lobbying the United States government. They were, because this was a lonely kid. He's 18 years old. He's in a different country, and he has no one. So all he does is he goes back to his apartment in Milwaukee. He saves the master bedroom in his apartment for his parents. He never sleeps in it. So this is a kid who really developed a relationship with Milwaukee because of what they did for him. You don't get that story every day. But my thought is, man, if you can build around one superstar who really buys in, and then you can build out with another guy who's an all-star, and then good complementary players who do what the NBA needs you to do now. Be able to switch on defense, knock down three-point shots, be able to move the ball. If you can use those skills, then, man, you've got yourself a puncher's chance. But, still to this day, guys, who wins the NBA championship? Giannis, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. Those are the guys that win. It is the best players who usually do well in this thing.